What's up guys, my name is Ryan and I've spent the last 3 years exploring the incredible continent of Europe, and I want to show you my favorite cities. So here's my European cities top 100. Europe's cities remain unmatched to the rest of the world. From the canals of Venice to the ancient city of Athens, it's impossible to beat the beauty of Europe's cities. This video is a long one, so I made timestamps of all the places in the description so you can jump around to your favorite cities. Let's start this video off at possibly the most iconic city in the world, London. I've traveled more to London than any other international destination. I have to say it's my favorite city in the world and I just keep coming back. Everything from the double-decker buses to the energy of Piccadilly Circus makes the city feel so alive. There's just so many places to see. You can check out the iconic Big Ben and walk across the bridge to see the Palace of Westminster. There's the Tower Bridge, which is possibly the most famous bridge in all of London. You can go see the Stoic Guards at Buckingham Palace or take a ride on the London Eye. If you haven't already been to London, I'd highly recommend visiting when you can. It's hard to beat the London atmosphere. There's no city like it in the world. While we're still in the UK, we're going to head over to Edinburgh. If you want to go back in time, Edinburgh is a must. It's where J.K. Rowling wrote her Harry Potter novels. When I started traveling, this was one of the first cities I visited. It's a medieval town with intricate neoclassical buildings, cobblestone streets, and beautiful gardens. The iconic Edinburgh Castle overlooks the city and it's home to Scotland's crown jewels. One of my favorite places in Edinburgh is Calton Hill. It just offers a beautiful view of the entire city. After Scotland, let's head over to Portugal to visit the vibrant city of Lisbon. Being one of the oldest cities in the world, Lisbon is Europe's second oldest capital city after Athens. I mean, there's just so much culture and history in this city. You can check out the Sanctuary of Christ the King monument. It reminds me of a mixture of Rio de Janeiro and San Francisco's bridge. The Commerce Square is another beautiful spot to explore. One of the coolest parks in Lisbon is the Parque Eduardo VII. It's full of beautifully designed hedges and just a great place to enjoy the afternoon or evening. The Belém Tower is also an important monument that served as a point of embarkation for Portuguese explorers. After Portugal, we're going to head over to Malta to visit Valletta. Now located in the southeastern region on the main island of Malta, Valletta is a sight to see. With only an area of 0.61 square kilometers, it's the European Union's smallest capital city. Valletta was established back in 1566 after the Knights of Malta defeated the Ottomans. Today, the architecture of Valletta is absolutely stunning. It's the perfect mixture of Baroque and modern architecture. I just love how the whole city is dominated by 10 medieval buildings. If you visit the city, you can check out the saluting battery. At noon, a cannon is fired. Pretty cool if you ask me. Valletta just has so much beauty and history, and I hope you all can witness it in person. After, let's head over to the beautiful city of Tallinn. Located in Estonia on the coast of the Baltic Sea, Tallinn received its city rights in the year 1248, and during medieval times, it quickly became a major trading hub due to its strategic positioning. One thing that I love about Tallinn is that you can take a relatively short boat ride to Helsinki, Stockholm, or even St. Petersburg, Russia. As for the city, one of the most impressive places is Tallinn's Old Town. It's one of Europe's most well-preserved medieval cities. I just love all the buildings and architecture there. One thing that's fascinating about Tallinn is that it has the highest number of startups per person than anywhere in Europe. If you want to visit one of Europe's most trending cities, you have to give Tallinn a visit. After, we're going to head over to the magnificent city of Milan. Located in northern Italy, Milan is a powerhouse of a city. It has the second largest economy in the EU after Paris. It's one of the world's 4 fashion capitals. The city is full of a mixture of modern skyscrapers and apartment buildings. One of the most notable features of the city is the Duomo di Milano. The construction began in 1386 and it took over 6 centuries to complete. It stands as the second largest church in Europe and the 4th largest in the world. I mean, that just blows my mind. If you want to go shopping, you can visit the oldest active shopping mall in the world that was built back in 1877. I just can't believe the domed glass roof there. While we're still in Italy, let's head over to the iconic city of Venice. Now Venice is one of the world's most unique cities. There are no roads and just canals to get around. It's made up of 118 islands and they are linked by over 400 bridges. Venice was a major financial and maritime power during the medieval ages and the Renaissance, and today it's one of Europe's most popular tourist destinations. When you're there, you can take a ride down the canals on a gondola, or you can check out St. Mark's Square. It's a one-of-a-kind location I hope you all can see. Another one of my favorite cities in Italy is Bologna. Special thanks to my friend Jack Anda for providing this footage. He makes incredible aerial videos of Italy, and I'll link his channel in the description below. I was just blown away by his Bologna film. Now, Bologna is one of the wealthiest cities in Italy, and it's the 7th most populous with a population around 400,000. What I love about Bologna is its medieval towers. They were constructed back in the 12th and 13th centuries, with the highest being over 300 feet tall. Back in medieval times, there were an estimated 180 towers which dominated the city. Over the centuries, many towers were demolished or simply collapsed, and today fewer than 20 towers remain. The most famous are the two towers. The tallest tower reaches over 97 meters with an overhang of 2.2 meters. I mean, they're both leaning a little bit. They look like they're going to collapse. I just can't imagine all the history these towers must have experienced throughout the ages. After, we're going to head over to Italy's capital to visit Rome. Now, Rome may be the most famous capital in the world. Its history spans over 28 centuries, with its founding taking place in the year 1753 BC. During ancient times, Rome's population peaked around 1 million people. It's just crazy to think that a city was so advanced that it could support so many people during that time. Ancient Rome's architecture stands today and draws millions of tourists each year. One of the most well-known structures of the capital is the Colosseum. It's the largest amphitheater built at its time and could hold anywhere from 50 to 80,000 spectators. You can marvel its architecture from the outside or take a guided tour to witness the interior. One of my personal favorite attractions in Rome is the Trevi Fountain. It's this Baroque styled fountain that was completed in 1762. If you do go, the earlier the better, because you can get super crowded there. While we're still in Rome, we're going to head over to the smallest country in the world to visit Vatican City. Now, this country is completely surrounded by Rome. The Vatican is the headquarters of the Roman Catholic Church and home to the Pope. The population is made up of only 800 people. It was founded over 90 years ago on February 11, 1929. The St. Peter's Basilica is possibly the most magnificent building in the world. It's the world's largest church, and when you go inside, the detail is mind-blowing. Architects such as Michelangelo helped design it, and construction began in 1506 and it was consecrated 120 years later in 1626. After Rome and the Vatican, we're going to head to southern Italy to visit Naples. Shadowed over by Mount Vesuvius, Naples is a historical town dating back to Roman times. What's so great about Naples that it's close to many beautiful sites and cities? You can make the 20-minute drive to witness the ruins of Pompeii. Pompeii was buried under 6 meters of volcanic ash in 79 AD, creating one of the most well-preserved archaeological sites in the world. Another cool place you can go from Naples is you can take a boat ride out to the island of Capri. I mean, there's just so much going on there. Now, about an hour's drive from Naples is possibly the most beautiful town in all of Europe, Positano. Located on the Amalfi Coast, back in the 1st century, luxury Roman villas were built on the coast here. It was believed to be a home of mythical sirens who would seduce sailors to crash upon the rocky shores. Positano was a somewhat poor fishing village during the first half of the 20th century, but tourism began to gain traction in the 1950s. When you see this place in real life, you won't believe it. It's hard to beat the backdrop of the mountains filled with colorful villas against the Mediterranean Sea with boats and yachts. Positano is quite the touristy destination, but its beauty is worth it. After the Amalfi Coast, we're going to head over to the island of Sicily to visit Palermo. Now, located on the northwest coast of the island, Palermo is the capital of Sicily. It was founded way back in 734 BC by the Phoenicians. It's an incredible place full of beautiful churches and sceneries. Now, while we're still on the island, we're going to head over to the city of Catania. After Palermo, Catania is the second largest city on the island. What's unique about Catania is that it lies at the base of the massive Mount Etna volcano. It's one of the world's most active volcanoes, which is wild to see the ash shooting and drifting out of the top. After Sicily, we're going to head over to Switzerland to visit Zurich. Located in north-central Switzerland, Zurich is one of the world's largest financial centers. It's often labeled as one of the most expensive cities in the world. Now, Zurich was founded by the Romans in 15 BC, and today it's the most populous city in Switzerland. I mean, it's just hard to beat the scenery of the city there. I love how it sits at the edge of the lake, and the Zermatt River runs right through it. I mean, Switzerland doesn't mess around when it comes to its cities. From Zurich, you can make the hour drive to visit Lucerne. Located in the heart of Switzerland, Lucerne is a picturesque lake city surrounded by the Swiss Alps. It's just a short 40-minute drive from Zurich. One of my favorite parts of Lucerne is all of its medieval buildings and architecture. Lucerne is home to Chapel Bridge, which is the world's oldest surviving truss bridge. It was built over 600 years ago in 1365. It almost burnt down in 1993, but it was reconstructed and it's now open to the public. Another impressive place in Lucerne is the Mooseg Wall and Towers. The fortifications began in the 13th century, and it's made up of 9 stone towers that were used as a defense wall during medieval times. Aside from all the history, Lucerne is just a beautiful city to walk around and explore the lake and all the surrounding scenery. I mean, it's hard to beat the beauty of this Swiss city. After Lucerne, we're going to visit one of my favorite places in all of Switzerland, Grindelwald. I was lucky enough to live in Switzerland, and on my last week living there, I did a road trip to Grindelwald to see what the hype was about. When I got there, I was awestruck by Mount Eiger. It's the biggest mountain I've ever seen. I wanted to do a hike that would give me a great vantage point of Mount Eiger, but I didn't know the area that well, so I just saw this random peak, so I decided to hike straight up the mountain. When I reached the top, I had the whole peak to myself, and I was rewarded with an incredible view of Mount Eiger. It was just such a memorable experience. While we're still in the Alps, let's visit Zermatt. Zermatt is home to the most iconic mountain in the Alps, the Matterhorn. With a height of 14,690 feet, it's one of the highest peaks in the Alps. There are many different hikes you can do around the area to get different views of the Matterhorn. If you're an early riser, I'd suggest getting up for sunrise to watch the morning light kiss the top of the Matterhorn as the sun rises over the horizon. Zermatt is a really unique city because they don't allow cars or motorized vehicles, so I had to take a train to get there. When I reached the city, I just had a great time exploring. I also found a McDonald's there, so that was kind of funny. After, we're going to head over to the Czech Republic to visit the capital city of Prague. Due to its location and rich history, Prague was the capital of the Kingdom of Bohemia and was the main residence of many Roman emperors such as Charles IV. One of my favorite attractions is the Charles Bridge. Its construction began in 1357 and it wasn't finished until the beginning of the 15th century. The bridge is decorated with an alley of over 30 statues. I mean, it's just so scenic and such a great feature in Prague. The Old Town Square is also a great place to explore, and the Prague Castle is another beautiful sight to see. It's considered to be the largest ancient castle in the world, and it was built more than 1,000 years ago in the 9th century. I mean, that's a freaking long time. Prague has such a historic vibe, and I hope all can visit. While we're still in the Czech Republic, let's head over to Cesky Krumlov. Located in the South Bohemian region of the Czech Republic, Cesky Krumlov is a medieval fantasy. As I was doing research, I was just blown away by the beauty of this place. It looks like something straight out of a fairy tale. The town arose around the year 1240 when the Cesky Krumlov castle was built and a settlement emerged beneath it. Cesky Krumlov thankfully escaped the bombings of World War II, which is the main reason the city is so well preserved. Today it stands as one of Czech Republic's most beautiful towns. I mean, it's just such a magical place and I can't believe it exists. After, we're going to visit the famous city of Barcelona. Now, when you think of Spain, this is what you probably imagine. Barcelona is home to incredible architecture, Mediterranean beaches, and an energetic vibe all around. The most iconic attraction in Barcelona is La Sagrada Familia. It's this Roman Catholic minor basilica that began construction over 138 years ago, and it still isn't finished. It's anticipated that construction will be finished in 2026, but who knows? All I know is one of the most unique buildings in the world, and I still can't get my head around that it's been construction since 1882. While we're still in Spain, we're going to head over to the beautiful city of Toledo. Located right in the middle of the country, Toledo is a stunning ancient city perfectly placed on a hill. It's known as the city of three cultures due to its influences from Christians, Muslims, and Jews. The history of Toledo is fascinating and complex. It was taken over by the Moors for several centuries until it was conquered in the 11th century by the Castilians. Today, the city has a population around 80,000. One of the most impressive is the Alcázar de Toledo. It was once used as a Roman palace and then it was eventually restored in the 16th century. Another amazing city in Spain is Cordoba. It's home to more World Heritage sites than anywhere in the world with 4. One of the coolest features of the city is the Mosque Cathedral of Cordoba. It's regarded as the most accomplished monument of Moorish architecture. It was finished in 746 AD and it was converted to a Christian church in the 16th century. Another one of my favorite cities in Spain is Ronda. It's just a 2 hours drive from Cordoba and it's home to one of the most scenic bridges I've ever seen called Puente Nuevo. It was built in the 18th century to cross the El Tajo Gorge. It stands 120 meters over the canyon floor. I just can't get over the architecture of the arches. What a beautiful spot. Now from Ronda, we're going to make the 2 hours drive to Granada. Now located at the base of the Sierra Nevada mountains, Granada is an elegant Spanish city. The crowning feature of Granada is the Alhambra. It's a fortified Moorish palace that was completed in 1354. The interior of this palace is stunning. There's a reflection pool and a pillared courtyard. I mean, I totally understand why it's one of the most renowned Islamic buildings in Europe. After explaining, let's head back to Portugal to visit Óbidos. Located about an hour's drive from Lisbon in central Portugal, Óbidos is a romantic medieval town protected by an impressive stone wall. Around the year 713, the Moors established a fortification here, and in 1148, the King of Portugal reclaimed the land after successful storming of the Moorish castle. In the 13th century, the king gifted Óbidos to his queen, and for the following centuries, the village received special treatment from the queens of Portugal, who remodeled and enriched the village throughout the Middle Ages. Today, Óbidos is one of Portugal's most well-preserved medieval cities. After exploring Óbidos, we're going to head 2 hours up the coast to the beautiful city of Porto. Now located in the coast of northern Portugal, Porto is the second largest city in the country after Lisbon. It's one of the oldest European centers as it developed as an important commercial port during Roman times. Today it's one of Europe's most vibrant cities. I just love how colorful all the buildings and roofs are. The Louis I Bridge is one of the most recognizable features as it spans across the river. Now after Portugal, we're going to head over to Germany to visit Cologne. Located on the Rhine River in western Germany, this 2,000-year-old city is full of history and beauty. It was established in the 1st century AD thanks to its location on one of Europe's major trade routes. It grew to one of the largest cities north of the Alps during medieval and Renaissance times. Sadly, during World War II, Cologne was almost completely destroyed. Thankfully, this city has been rebuilt today. The most popular attraction of the city is the Cologne Cathedral. Its construction began in 1248 AD and wasn't completed for nearly 600 years. The wait was worth it because it's just one of the most beautiful Gothic cathedrals in the world. After Cologne, we're going to visit Rothenburg. When you go to Rothenburg, you feel like you're walking into a fantasy movie. It's one of the most preserved medieval towns in Europe. During the Middle Ages, Rothenburg thrived as it was located at the crossroads of the European trade routes. At the beginning of the 15th century, it rose to become the second largest city in Germany. But during the 17th century, Rothenburg faced adversities such as the 30 Years' War and the bubonic plague. Without much resources, Rothenburg's growth was halted, which aided in keeping the town preserved in its medieval state. Today, Rothenburg maintains its medieval charm. It's been the inspiration for Disney movies such as Pinocchio and Beauty and the Beast. If you can, go check out the famous Plonine Corner or the Christmas market. From Rothenburg, you can take the 3-hour drive to the beautiful city of Munich. Also known as Bavaria's capital, Munich is located in the south of Germany, about 50 kilometers from the Alps. During World War II, Munich was heavily bombed by over 70 air raids, but today the city is restored to its former beauty. One of the most popular spots is the Marienplatz Central Square. You'll find the new town hall with its stunning clock tower and historical figurines. What's cool about Munich is that it's close to some beautiful places in Bavaria. You can make the 90-minute drive to the famous Neuschwanstein Castle. I mean, it's something out of a Disney movie. Now, another beautiful town to visit in Bavaria is Berchtesgaden. Just south of the town is where Hitler's former Eagle Nest retreat is. The area is also full of stunning alpine lakes. From Berchtesgaden, you can make the 30-minute drive to visit the beautiful city of Salzburg. Surrounded by the Alps in western Austria, Salzburg is one of the most beautiful cities in all of Europe. Salzburg literally translates to Salt Castle. Today, Salzburg is renowned for its Baroque architecture and is one of the best preserved cities north of the Alps. The crowning feature of the city is the Hohensalzburg Fortress. Its construction began in 1077 AD. Today, it's one of the largest and best preserved medieval castles in Europe. If you want to visit the Austrian Alps, you can head over to the picturesque village of Hallstatt. This town looks like it should be in a fairy tale because it's so magical. It was once a salt mining town, but now it's one of of Austria's most popular tourist attractions. Another amazing city to visit in Austria is Innsbruck, located in western Austria in the heart of Tyrol. Innsbruck is a magical destination situated right at the heart of the Alps. It's one of the world's best destinations for winter sports, and it has hosted several Winter Olympics throughout the years. After, we're going to head to the east side of Austria to visit the capital of Vienna. Now, Vienna has been ranked one of the world's most livable cities. Vienna is known as the city of music. Musicians such as Beethoven and Mozart called Vienna their home. One of the most impressive places is the Schönbrunn Palace. There's stunning gardens and mazes to explore around the palace. After, we're going to head over to the capital of Bratislava. Now, located in Slovakia, right on the border between Austria and Hungary, Bratislava became Slovakia's capital after the Velvet Revolution, which split Czechoslovakia into two separate countries, making it one of Europe's younger capitals. Today, Bratislava has a population of 430,000, and it ranks as the third richest region in the European Union. One of the most prominent features of the capital is the Bratislava Castle. Located on an isolated hill right above the Danube River, the Bratislava Castle has been a symbol of the city since the Middle Ages. Construction of the castle began in the 9th century, and it stood until it was tragically burned down by fire in 1811. Luckily, it was rebuilt in 1964 and it stands as one of Slovakia's greatest castles. The Bratislava Castle includes 4 towers, a courtyard, and a beautiful garden area, all surrounded by a fortified wall. It's just absolutely massive, and it can be seen from all over the city. Now, to get one of the best views of the castle in all of Bratislava, you can visit the UFO Bridge. It's a road bridge that goes over the Danube River, and it was constructed in 1972 and stands 278 feet high. On top, there's an observation deck and a restaurant that offers the best views of the city. After, we're going to head over to France, to the capital of Paris. Now, since the 17th century, Paris has been Europe's major center of finance, diplomacy, fashion, and the arts. Paris is one of the world's most visited cities, and with all its attractions and fascinating history, it's easy to see why. Paris's most recognizable attraction is the Eiffel Tower. It was built in 1889 for the World Fair. The Eiffel Tower is 324 meters high, which made it the tallest man-made structure in the world until 1930. You can take an elevator up there to get an incredible 360 panoramic view of all of Paris. Another popular attraction is the Louvre Museum. It's the world's largest art museum, and it's home to Da Vinci's Mona Lisa. You can also take a drive around the Arc de Triomphe or walk the grounds of the Palace of Versailles. And there's just so much to see in this grand city. If you want a road trip outside the capital, you can head to France's northern coast, visit the coastal town of Etretat. Located about 3 hours outside of Paris, Etretat is famous for its white cliffs and rock formations. One of the most well-known is the Falaise de Aval Arch. After exploring the French coast, we're going to head over to the fairy tale city of Colmar. Colmar looks like something straight out of a Disney movie. The city's old town is lined with timber medieval buildings. I love the canal that runs through the city. It just adds to the magic of the place. Now, after Colmar, we're going to make the 4-hour drive to Lyon. Lyon is a beautiful city built upon 2 rivers. During the Renaissance, Lyon was a major economic hub. Today, it's France's 3rd largest city. One of the most prominent features of the city is the Basilica of Notre Dame. It's perched perfectly on the hill to overlook the entire city. After Lyon, we're going to head to one of my favorite places in France, Carcassonne. Now, when I imagine medieval Europe, I don't think there's a better place that exemplifies it better than this fortified city. Located in southern France, Carcassonne began as a Roman fortified hilltop and was given to the Visigoths in the 5th century, who continued to fortify and build the city. Throughout the centuries, Carcassonne proved to be an impregnable fortress as army after army failed to overtake the protected city. Today, the city consists of 53 towers that are protected by its 2 outer walls. It remains as one of Europe's greatest medieval gems. After France, we're going to visit Monaco's Monte Carlo. Now, Monaco is the 2nd smallest country after the Vatican. The whole country is only 499 acres. Monaco has been known as a billionaire's playground, and over 1/3 of Monaco citizens are millionaires. One reason why Monaco draws the rich is because it's a tax haven. There are no income taxes and other tax rates are extremely low. One of the most famous places in Monaco is the Monte Carlo Casino. It was opened in 1863 and has been featured in the James Bond films. Another annual tourist attraction in Monaco is the Grand Prix. I'd love to see some race cars ripping through the city there. If you can handle the riches of Monte Carlo and Monaco, it's definitely a place to add to your European city bucket list. After Monaco, we're going to head over to Ukraine to visit Kiev. Located in north-central Ukraine along the Dnieper River, Kiev is one of the oldest cities in Eastern Europe and is believed to be founded around the 5th century as a Slavic settlement that grew as it was positioned on the trade route between Scandinavia and Constantinople. At the beginning of the 12th century, it grew to be one of the largest cities in the world with a population exceeding 100,000. Today, Kiev is an important cultural, scientific, and industrial center of Eastern Europe. I'm amazed by how beautiful the city is, especially during the summertime. One of the most famous places in the city is the Kiev Monastery of the Caves. It's an Orthodox Christian monastery, and it began as a cave monastery in the year of 1051 AD. Today, it's an active monastery with over 100 monks, and it's named one of the 7 wonders of Ukraine. Right next to the monastery is the Motherland Monument. It's a 203-foot tall stainless steel statue that was completed in 1981 to celebrate the Soviet victory over Nazi Germany. After Kiev, we're going to head over to the seaside town of Odessa. Now located about a 6-hour drive from Kiev, Odessa is a port city located on the northwest shores of the Black Sea. It was an ancient Greek settlement, then became a Tatar settlement in 1440 by the Khan of Crimea. Today it is Ukraine's 3rd most populous city. It's a great place to come in the summer and bathe in the Black Sea. One of the coolest spots in Odessa is the Ackerman Fortress. It's unclear when the fortress was founded, but it's believed to be established in the 13th century by the Republic of Genoa. While we're still in Ukraine, we're going to head over to Lviv, located in western Ukraine, 70 miles from the border of Poland. One thing interesting about the city is that it's home to 1,500 cafes, making it the highest amount of cafes per capita in the world. I just love all the architecture throughout the city. There's so many beautiful churches and other historical buildings. The roofs are just so colorful and unique. After Ukraine, we're going to head to the magical capital of Luxembourg City. Now, the country of Luxembourg is one of the smallest in the world. It's nestled between Belgium, France, and Germany, and has a population around 600,000. Luxembourg also has the highest GDP per capita in the world, which is pretty crazy. Now, the crowning feature of the country is its capital, Luxembourg City. Built among deep gorges cut out by surrounding rivers, the city is home to one of the most impressive medieval old towns. Now, what made this landscape so appealing is that it's surrounded by sheer cliffs that serve as a natural fortification against invading armies. Luxembourg's fortifications grew gradually and it became one of Europe's strongest fortresses. Sadly, in 1867, the Treaty of London required Luxembourg's fortress to be torn down so it could be a place of neutrality. Today, the fortress's ruins still remain. The best place to see them is the Bach Promontory, where you'll find the city's famed cliffs, underground tunnels, and fascinating history. After, we're going to head over to Belgium to visit Brussels. Now, located in the heart of the country, Brussels is the most densely populated region with a population of 1.2 million. After World War II, Brussels became a major center for international politics. It is the de facto capital of the European Union. I went to Brussels many years ago and its impression has left a mark on me. One of my favorite places was the Grand Place. It's the center square of the city and I just remember being blown away by the immaculate buildings and all the cobblestone. The square is considered to be one of the most beautiful in all of Europe and I totally understand why. While you're there, you can treat yourself to a Belgian waffle or make the short walk to the famous statue of Mannequin piece. Now, a really interesting attraction is the Atomium Landmark Building. It was built in 1958 for the Brussels World Fair, and there's a restaurant with an incredible panoramic view on top. While we're still in Belgium, we're going to visit the medieval city of Bruges. Due to its tidal inlets and canals, Bruges is sometimes referred to as the Venice of the North. Bruges' tidal inlet helped it become one of the most prosperous cities during the Middle Ages as it quickly became a strategic location for maritime trade routes. Bruges continued to flourish until the year 1500 when the tidal inlet became silted up, which led to the decline of the city. Today, most of Bruges' medieval structures have remained intact. One of my favorite features of the city is the market square. It's towered over by 277-foot medieval bell tower of Belfry, which was constructed in the 13th century. Just such an impressive and unique medieval city. After, we're going to head over to the Netherlands to visit Amsterdam. Now, known for its elaborate canal system, narrow houses, and countless bridges, Amsterdam has a vibe like none other. I was in Amsterdam many years ago and its impression has always left a mark on me. It's just crazy to think that people were able to construct a city around canals hundreds of years ago. Truly mind-blowing. Amsterdam originated as a small fishing village in the 12th century and rose to one of the world's most important trading ports in the 17th century. If you fancy art, you can visit the Van Gogh Museum and witness some of the world's most famous paintings. The Rijksmuseum is another wonderful place to check out some art. When I was there, I just had an incredible time just walking around the canals and enjoying the atmosphere of this incredible city, and it's just hard to beat this place. While we're still in the Netherlands, we're going to head over to Rotterdam. Now located just an hour's drive from Amsterdam, Rotterdam is home to Europe's largest seaport. Rotterdam's history dates back to the 13th century. Due to its location between Germany and Britain, it was completely destroyed in World War II. When Rotterdam was rebuilt, the city was extremely bold with its buildings and unique architecture. Today, Rotterdam's skyline is full of modern skyscrapers. Now just 30 minutes from Rotterdam is another impressive Dutch city called The Hague. One of the coolest features of the city is De Pier. It reminds me a lot of the beaches and piers in California. Such a fun little place there. After, we're going to head over to the capital of Denmark, Copenhagen. Now Copenhagen started as a Viking fishing village in the 10th century and became the economic center of Scandinavia during the Renaissance. Today, Copenhagen is the cultural, economic, and governmental center of Denmark. One of the most recognizable places in Copenhagen is the Nyhavn Canal. It's a 17th century canal that is lined with beautifully colored houses and historical wooden ships. It's just a great place to walk around and enjoy some Danish restaurants and cafes. Another impressive spot in the city is the Copenhagen Opera House. It's one of the most modern and expensive opera houses ever built with an estimated cost of $500 million. After Copenhagen, we're going to head over to the nearby Malmo. Now located on Sweden's southern coast, Malmo is the country's third largest city. The 8-kilometer Øresund bridge connects Malmo to Copenhagen. One of the coolest features of the city is the turning torso skyscraper. It's a 190-meter tall tower that was built in 2005. It's the tallest building in Scandinavia, and it's claimed to be the world's first twisted skyscraper. And it's just such a unique feature that adds to the beauty of Malmo. Right next to the turning torso is one of Europe's biggest skate parks. Malmo is such a charming city that you gotta check out. After, we're going to head over to Gothenburg. Now located on Sweden's west coast, Gothenburg is the second largest city in Sweden. It began as a Dutch trading colony in 1621, and today it is home to the largest shipping port in the Nordic countries. It's famous for its Dutch-style canals and seaside views. When you go there, you can visit the Luxembourg amusement park. It's one of the most visited in all of Scandinavia. After Gothenburg, we're going to head over to Sweden's capital, Stockholm. I was able to visit Stockholm last summer and I was just pleasantly surprised. It's made up of 14 islands and 50 bridges. Compared to other Nordic countries such as Norway and Iceland, I felt Sweden was much more affordable. I had a good time walking around the city and using their public transportation. I swear I rode on the world's biggest escalator. I just love the buildings and architecture there. It reminded me a lot of Copenhagen with its colorful buildings and canals full of wooden ships. I mean, it's just such a wonderful city, and I think everyone should give it a visit. After exploring Sweden, we're going to head over to Finland. Now, for the past 3 years, Finland has been ranked the happiest country in the world, thanks to its wonderful healthcare, education, and obviously its beautiful scenery. On the same note, the capital of Finland, Helsinki, has been ranked the happiest and most livable city in the world. Now, Helsinki is one of the northernmost metropolitan areas. The whole city just has a great vibe to it. If you want to see some of Finland's nature, you can head up north to visit the Arctic city of Rovaniemi. Located about 4 miles south of the Arctic Circle, Rovaniemi is the capital of Lapland. It's also the largest city in all Europe by land area. It's considered to be the official hometown of Santa Claus. I can't think of a better place to visit during Christmas time. You'll find reindeer, snow-coated pine trees, and maybe you get lucky and see the northern lights. It's just such a cool remote city. While we're still in the Nordic, we're going to head over to Norway's capital of Oslo. Located on Norway's southern coast at the start of the Oslo Fjord, Oslo was founded at the end of the Viking Age during the 11th century. Today, Oslo is one of Europe's fastest growing cities. I love all the modern buildings and museums throughout the city. The Oslo Opera House is an impressive piece of architecture that resembles an iceberg. It was completed in 2007 and features slanted marble and granite slates that slide down to the water. From Oslo, we're going to make the 7-hour journey to the magical town of Bergen. Located on Norway's southwest coast and surrounded by mountains and fjords, Bergen is one of Norway's most charming cities. Bergen was founded back in the 11th century. Thanks to its maritime trade domination, Bergen was the largest city in Norway until the 1830s. Today, it's famous for its colorful wooden houses on the old wharf. If you're in the city, you can hike to the Floyen mountain to get amazing panoramic views of the city. Another beautiful city on Norway's west coast is Ålesund. It's about a 7-hour drive from Bergen, so it's quite a ways. Ålesund is one of Norway's most prominent fishing towns, built on a uniquely shaped archipelago. Similar to Bergen, it's home to beautifully colored buildings perched right up against the ocean. To get one of the best views of the city, you can go to the By Rampen viewpoint or Mount Axla lookouts. Both will give you incredible panoramic views of the fjords and archipelago. If you go to Ålesund during the winter months, you might get lucky and witness the stunning aurora borealis as it dances across the Norwegian sky. While we're near the Arctic Circle, we're going to keep heading north to visit Tromsø. When I flew into Tromsø, I just remember looking at where it was on the map, and I couldn't believe how high up in latitude I was. Tromsø is the third largest city north of the Arctic Circle. One thing great about Tromsø is that it's one of the best places in the world to see the Northern Lights. When I was there, I road tripped from Tromsø to Senja, and I experienced one of the most magical nights of my life as I slept underneath the aurora borealis. Now from Norway, we're going to head over to Iceland to visit the capital of Reykjavik. Known as the land of fire and ice, Iceland is a spectacular country with a great capital city. Reykjavik is the largest city in Iceland with a population of 130,000 residents. It's believed that Reykjavik is the first permanent settlement in Iceland and was established by a Norse settler in 874 AD. To date, Reykjavik is known as one of the cleanest, greenest, and safest cities in the world. One of the crowning features of the city is the Lutheran church that took 41 years to build and was completed in 1986. What's great about Reykjavik is that you can visit some amazing places with relatively short drives, such as the famous Blue Lagoon, or you could venture to the Reynisfjord beach to witness the Black Sea pinnacles or visit the iconic waterfall of Skogafoss. After Iceland, we're going to head over to the charming capital of Dublin. Now located on Ireland's eastern coast, Dublin is a city full of charm. The capital is known for its beautiful gardens and architecture. I mean, just such a friendly vibe to it. When you're there, you can take a walk across the River Liffey on the uniquely designed Samuel Beckett Bridge, or you can walk to the coast to experience the Irish Sea. I just love the feel of Dublin. It's just such a magical capital. After, let's head over to Poland to visit Warsaw. Located on the Vistula River in east central Poland, Warsaw is the capital and largest city in the country. Warsaw began to grow in the 16th century and was called the Paris of the North, but Warsaw was damaged extensively during World War II, with 85% of its buildings in ruins. Today, it's a bustling capital with a population of 1.8 million. One of my favorite buildings is the Palace of Culture and Science. At 778 feet tall, it's the 5th tallest building in the EU. You want to see some medieval vibes, you can check out Warsaw's Old Town. It was established in the 13th century and is full of history and medieval architecture. After Warsaw, we're going to head up to the charming city of Gdansk. Now located in northern Poland on the Baltic coast, earliest mention of Gdansk was in 997, and during the Middle Ages, Gdansk grew as an important seaport and shipbuilding town. It rose to the wealthiest and largest city in Poland until Warsaw's rapid growth in the 18th century. Sadly, a majority of Gdansk was destroyed during World War II, but today, Gdansk is one of Poland's most beautiful cities. I just can't believe how stunning the old town is. It's full of perfectly placed houses next to the river. After, we're going to head over to Wrocław. Wrocław is located in Poland, about a 3-hour drive from Krakow. Wrocław is such a charming city. It's home to one of the most beautiful market squares in Europe. It's lined with elegant townhouses and cobblestone streets. Wrocław also has one of the most beautiful cathedrals in all of Poland. It was originally built in 1272, but was damaged and rebuilt several times throughout the centuries. I just love its double spires. While we're still in Poland, we're to head down to Krakow. Located in southern Poland, Krakow was founded back in the 7th century, so you best believe it's full of beautiful history and architecture. One of the most impressive sights is the Wawel Royal Castle. It was built during the 14th century and was the first UNESCO World Heritage Site. It features architectural styles from the medieval, Renaissance, and Baroque periods. After, we're going to head over to Russia's St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg is located at the end of the Baltic Sea. It was founded relatively recent in 1703 after Russia captured it from Swedish colonists. Today is one of Russia's most thriving cities and receives millions of tourists each year. I love all the canals. It reminded me a lot of Amsterdam. One of the most famous spots is the Peter and Paul Fortress. It was the original citadel of St. Petersburg and was finished in 1740. You can also check out sites such as the Palace Square or many of the city's gorgeous gardens. While we're still in Russia, we're going to visit Moscow. Moscow is the world's most northernmost and coldest megacity. It's also Europe's second most popular city with over 12.4 million residents. One of the coolest places in Moscow is St. Basil's Cathedral. It was completed in 1561 under orders of Ivan the Terrible. It has such a unique look with its colorful onion-shaped domes. Right next to the cathedral is the Moscow Kremlin. It's a fortified complex that was completed in 1495. It serves as the official residence of Vladimir Putin, so it's basically the Russian equivalent of the White House. One of the most stunning buildings, in my opinion, is the Moscow State University. It reminds me of a scene straight out of a Batman movie. I mean, there's just so many intriguing places to visit in Moscow. What a wild place. After Russia, we're going to head back to Italy's coast to visit Vernazza. Vernazza is one of the seaside villages that make up Cinque Terre. These fishing villages have lined the Italian coast for thousands of years. Now, the small town of Vernazza is one of my favorites in Cinque Terre. I just can't get over the colorful houses and beauty of the city. Now, another wonderful city in Italy is Verona, famous for being the setting of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. Verona is a beautiful medieval town. I just love how the river cuts through the town. It's home to the Verona Arena, which is an ancient Roman amphitheater. It's where the closing ceremony of the 2026 Winter Olympics will be held. Now, while we're still in Italy, we're going to head over to the nearby San Marino. The Republic of San Marino is a microstate completely enclosed by Italy. The history of this small country is absolutely fascinating. It was founded by a stonemason from Croatia named St. Marinus. After facing persecution for his Christian sermons, he fled to the mountain of Monte Titano, where he built a church and founded the small country in the year 301 AD. San Marino claims to be the oldest surviving sovereign state and the oldest constitutional republic. The capital of the country is the city of San Marino, and it's situated on the slopes of Monte Titano. It's hard to beat the location of the city. One of the most iconic spots in San Marino is the fortress of Guaita. It was built in the 11th century and served as a prison. After Italy, we're going to head over to Slovenia to visit Ljubljana. Now, while Ljubljana is one of the smallest capitals in Europe with a population around 300,000, it's one of the most stunning in my opinion. One thing I love about the city is how the Ljubljanica River runs right through it. It makes it feel like you're not even in the city. The crowning feature is the Ljubljana Castle as it overlooks the city. It was built around the 12th century and it's one of the capital's most popular attractions. If you want to venture outside the capital, I'd highly recommend making an hour drive to Lake Bled. It's one of Europe's most beautiful lakes and it has this little island and church right in the middle of it. Just hard to beat the scenery there. After, we're going to head over to Croatia to visit Dubrovnik. One of the most popular medieval cities in Europe, the history of Dubrovnik dates back to the 7th century when it was founded by refugees. During the 14th century up to 1808, Dubrovnik was a free state. One of the most notable features of Dubrovnik are the walls that surround the city. They are almost 2 kilometers in length and are anywhere from 4 to 6 meters thick. The walls were used to protect the city throughout history. The unique look of the city has made it a popular filming location. Dubrovnik was featured in Game of Thrones as it was used to depict the city of King's Landing. Another one of my favorite cities in Croatia is the port of Rovinj. Now, located on the Istrian Peninsula on Croatia's western coast, Rovinj is one of the most beautiful medieval fishing towns I've ever seen. From 1283 to 1797, Rovinj was governed by the Republic of Venice. From 1918 to 1947, it belonged to the Kingdom of Italy. Today it is part of Croatia and it's one of the country's most beautiful cities. When you walk the streets, you'll feel like you're in Italy due to its Italian influence. One of the most beautiful features of the city is the Church of St. Euphemia. It's perfectly perched on the hill in the historic part of the city. It was completed in 1680 and stands over 60 meters tall. After, we're going to head to Croatia's capital, Zagreb. Now, located in northwestern Croatia, Zagreb is the country's largest city with a population of over 1 million. Zagreb is a city full of history that dates back to the Roman times. One of the most popular attractions in the capital is the Cathedral of Zagreb. It's not only the tallest building in Croatia, but it's also the most monumental sacred building in Gothic style southeast of the Alps. The cathedral was completed in 1217 and sadly it was destroyed in 1242 by the Mongols, but it was rebuilt a few years later. The two spires reach a height of 354 feet. It's just crazy to think that it was constructed nearly 800 years ago. Zagreb is just such a beautiful capital to visit. After, we're going to head back to the Baltics to visit Riga. Now, I have to say that I was very surprised by Riga's beauty. It's full of stunning medieval architecture. Riga was founded back in 1201 and today it's the largest city in all the Baltic countries. One of the most famous buildings is the House of the Blackheads. It's located in Riga's old town and was built in the 14th century. St. Peter's Church is another dramatic building that towers over Riga's skylines. Riga is just such a special and underrated city, and I hope all can visit. After Riga, we're going to head down to Lithuania's capital of Vilnius. Unlike other Baltic capitals of Tallinn and Riga, Vilnius is located inland near its eastern border. Before World War II, Vilnius was one of the largest Jewish centers in the world. Napoleon called it the Jerusalem of the North. I'm just blown away by the beauty of the city and its perfect mixture of modern and Baroque architecture. After Lithuania, we're going to head over to the neighboring Belarus to visit the capital of Minsk. Located in the center of the country, Minsk is quite the city. Similar to many cities during World War II, it was largely destroyed, so when it was rebuilt, Soviet bloc-style buildings rose up across the city. Minsk is famous for its big concrete Soviet-style buildings that claim Minsk to be the perfect example of a Soviet city. One of the most unique features of the city is the National Library. It's this extremely unique shaped library, and apparently it's been named one of the world's ugliest buildings, but if you ask me, I think it's pretty cool. Now afterwards, we're going to head over to Budapest. Budapest is one of Europe's most photogenic destinations. The Danube River runs right through Budapest, making it a unique and stunning city. One of my favorite attractions is the Chain Bridge. It's a suspension bridge that runs across the Danube. First time I saw the bridge was this video that Will Smith did where he got on top of the bridge towers. The Hungarian Parliament building is another incredible piece of architecture. It was opened in 1902 and it's the third largest parliament building in the world. Budapest is also famous for its thermal baths. The Széchenyi thermal bath is the largest in Europe and it's known for its medicinal properties. It's hard to beat the beauty and energy of Budapest. After, we're going to head over to Romania to visit Bucharest. Now located in the south of Romania, Bucharest is the country's capital with a population of 1.8 million. It's referred to as the Paris of the East thanks to its elegant architecture. One of the most impressive buildings in the city is the Palace of Parliament. It's the heaviest building in the world, and I just can't believe how massive it is. What I like about Bucharest is the roads are lined with buildings and they go right towards the Parliament building. Similar to Paris, Bucharest has an Arc of Triumph dedicated to the heroes of World War I. Now while we're still in Romania, we're going to head over to Brasov. Located near the Carpathian Mountains, Brasov is a charming city known for its medieval Saxon walls and towering Gothic black church. One of my favorite places near the city is the Bran Castle. It's located 30 minutes outside and it's supposedly Dracula's castle. I mean, it would be a fun place to go during Halloween. Now after, we're going to visit Montenegro's coastal town of Kotor. Located in what some consider to be Europe's southernmost fjord, Kotor is one of the most well-preserved medieval old towns in all the Balkans. It's grown in popularity over the years and it's a popular cruise ship stop. If you want to get one of the best views of Kotor, you can drive the Serpentine Road to get a panoramic view of the entire bay and surrounding mountains. I mean, just what a beautiful city. After Montenegro, we're going to head over to Bosnia and Herzegovina to visit the capital of Sarajevo. Nestled in a valley surrounded by the Dinaric Alps, Sarajevo is the country's largest city with a population around 300,000. It's considered to be the prominent center of culture in the Balkans, and due to its long history and religious and cultural diversity, and sometimes referred to as the Jerusalem of Europe. The capital is full of crazy history. The city began in the 15th century as an Ottoman stronghold. In 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated here, which sparked World War I. In 1984, Sarajevo hosted the Winter Olympics and the city was thriving, but from 1992 to 1996, the city suffered the longest siege of a capital city in the history of modern warfare during the Bosnian War. I just can't imagine what that must have been like. Aside from its history, I find Sarajevo to be such an intriguing place. From the melting pot of religions to the surrounding Alps, Sarajevo is an undiscovered gem that deserves a visit. After, we're going to head over to the city of Mostar. The most popular feature of the city is the Old Bridge. It's an Ottoman bridge from the 16th century. It stood for 427 years until it was destroyed in 1993 during the Croat-Bosniak War. But in 2004 it was rebuilt. Now one of the cool things that I love about the bridge is that they let you cliff jump off of it. I believe it's a nearly 20-meter fall down to the river below, so it's pretty high. But next time in Bosnia, I'm going to make sure to send a gainer off of the bridge. After, we're going to head over to the nearby Serbia to visit Belgrade. Now, it's the capital and largest city in Serbia with a population of 1.7 million. What's crazy about Belgrade is that it's one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in Europe and the world. One of the most notable attractions of the city is the Belgrade Fortress. which was built all the way back in 279 BC. It sits atop a hill and offers one of the best views of Belgrade. After Serbia, we're going to head to the ancient city of Athens. It's the capital and largest city in Greece, and it's one of the world's oldest cities. Athens is such a wild place with so much history. One of my favorite places in Athens is the Acropolis. If you want to get into Parthenon, it costs about 20 euros, so it's a little expensive, but it's totally worth it, especially if you're there. When I went to the Acropolis, I was able to get some of my favorite time lapses over the city. They're just an endless sea of white buildings with mountains in the background. If you do go to Greece, I recommend exploring Athens for at least a day or two. It's just such a unique place. Afterwards, we're going to head over to Turkey to visit the notorious city of Istanbul. Istanbul is one of the most fascinating places. It's a transcontinental city, which means that Istanbul is part of both Europe and Asia. The Bosphorus Strait, which is considered to be the boundary between Europe and Asia, runs right through the capital. Istanbul is the most populated city of all of Europe, with a population of over 15 million. The history of Istanbul is endless. It was settled as far back as 7th century BC, and it became the capital of the Roman Empire in the year 330 AD. One of my favorite features of the city is the Galata Tower. It's a uniquely shaped medieval building that dominates the skyline. It was built in 1348, and the tower was used to spot fires. One of the most important features of Istanbul is the Hagia Sophia. It was built all the way back in the year 537 AD as a Christian church, but after the fall of Constantinople in 1453, the church was converted to a mosque by the Ottoman Empire. At the time of its completion, it was the world's largest interior space and the first building to use a fully pendative dome. After Turkey, we're going to head over to Georgia to visit Tbilisi. Now located on the banks of the Kura River, Tbilisi is Georgia's capital and largest city with a population of 1.5 million. The city was founded all the way back in the 5th century and grew steadily thanks to its location on the crossroads of Europe and Asia. To date, Tbilisi is a vibrant city. I was surprised by all its modern architecture. Throughout the capital and its outskirts, there are plenty of historical sites such as the 4th century Narikala fortress. Just 30 minutes outside the capital are two impressive monasteries. The Javari Monastery was built around 590 AD, and across the river is the 11th century cathedral. I won't even try saying that name. After that, we're going to Germany's capital of Berlin. Now today, Berlin is a thriving capital with a population of over 3.6 million people. It's an incredible city with a complicated history. Now, Berlin was first documented in the 13th century. During World War II, it was the headquarters of Hitler's Third Reich and became the most heavily bombed city in history. After the war, Berlin was divided into the East and West Berlin. With the end of the Cold War, East and West Berlin were finally reunited in 1990. So one of my favorite spots is the Brandenburg Gate. It's this 18th century neoclassical monument that is Germany's national symbol of unity and peace. You can also check out the Berlin Wall Memorial to see remnants of the historical wall. After Berlin, we're going to head over to Hamburg. Located in northern Germany on the Elbe River, Hamburg is the second largest city in Germany after Berlin. Thanks to its access to the North Sea, Hamburg grew as the port city throughout the ages. Today it is Europe's third largest port. I just love all the canals that run through the city. Hamburg is home to 2,500 bridges, making it the city with the highest number of bridges in Europe. It reminds me of a modern-day Venice. A really impressive spot in the city is the Speicherstadt. It's the largest warehouse district in the world. Now, another beautiful spot in the city is the Auster Lakes. It's a set of two artificial lakes that are often full of sailboats during the summertime. Now, after Hamburg, we're going to head over to Frankfurt. Located in west central Germany, Frankfurt is one of Europe's major financial hubs, and it's home to the European Central Bank. It's full of beautiful skyscrapers and kind of reminds me of American cities. Aside from its skyscrapers and financial district, Frankfurt is a beautiful historical town. One of the most popular places is Romerberg. It's a beautiful town square lined with colorful timber houses that will get your German vibes going. Now, after Germany, we're going to head over to one of my favorite Spanish islands to visit Palma de Mallorca. Now, located on beautiful Mallorca, when most people think of this island, they probably imagine beautiful beaches and incredible landscapes, but it's also home to the resort city of Palma. One of the most notable features is the massive Santa Maria Cathedral. The cathedral was started in the 13th century and it stands as an iconic symbol of Palma. There's also a lot of great restaurants, galleries, and nightlife to enjoy when you explore this awesome city. After, we're going to head over to Valencia. Now, being Spain's third most populous city, Valencia is full of culture and history. It's located on Spain's southeastern coast. One of the most impressive attractions in Valencia is the City of Arts and Sciences. I mean, it's one of the most unique modern architectural structures that I've ever seen. Construction began in 1996 and it was inaugurated 9 years later. It was estimated that construction cost almost $1 billion, so that's pretty crazy. But anyways, you can go paddleboard on the water, or you can go watch a film in the IMAX theater there. I mean, the surrounding Science Museum Park is also a beautiful place to walk around and enjoy the beauty of Valencia. After Valencia, we're going to head over to Seville. As the capital of the Andalusia region in Spain, Seville is a very historic city where flamenco dancing was born. The Cathedral of Seville will blow your mind. It's one of the largest churches in the world, and it's the world's largest Gothic church. Another impressive sight in the city includes the Plaza de España. It's a beautiful place that's the perfect combination of Baroque, Renaissance, and Moorish architecture. Afterwards, we're going to head over to Madrid. Now located in central Spain, Madrid is a beautifully modern city. The capital of Spain was originally Toledo, but Philip II moved his court to Madrid in the 1560s, and the city has continuously been Spain's capital since 1606. The Plaza Mayor is a great place to visit and experience the heart of Madrid. The Royal Palace is another incredible spot. It's the official residence of the Spanish royal family, and it's the biggest palace in all of Europe. After, let's head back to Switzerland to visit the capital of Bern. Now, in my opinion, I think Bern is one of Europe's most beautiful capitals. I love how the blue waters of the Aare River winds perfectly through the city. Now, Bern's origins date back to the 12th century, and today the capital hosts a population of 100,000. Now, one of the most impressive places in Bern is the Old City. It's the medieval part of Bern. One of the most prominent features is the Cathedral of Bern. It started construction in 1421, and it's the tallest cathedral in all of Switzerland at a height of 100 meters. After Bern, we're going to head over to Geneva. Located on the southern tip of Lake Geneva in western Switzerland, Geneva is Switzerland's second most popular city after Zurich. I was lucky enough to live there for a summer, and I just loved every second of it. It's home to the headquarters of the United Nations, so there's a lot of diplomatic stuff going on there. One of the most famous landmarks of the city is the Geneva water fountain. It's a jet of water that flows over 140 meters high. I mean, I just love Geneva, and I hope you all can check it out one day. After Switzerland, we're going to head back to Italy to visit the cities of Tuscany. Now, located in central Italy, Tuscany is known for its landscapes, history, and artistic legacy. One of my favorite cities in Tuscany is San Gimignano. San Gimignano is a stunning medieval city perched upon a hill. From San Gimignano, you can make the 40-minute drive to Siena. I went there many years ago, and I just remember it was mesmerizing to me. The Piazza del Campo is this uniquely shaped square with a massive clock tower. The Duomo di Siena is another spectacular sight. The interior will blow your mind with its black and white pillars. Another beautiful town in Tuscany is Pisa. It's known worldwide for its leaning tower. The tower is over 55 meters tall and has a lean of nearly 4 degrees. The tower was completed all the way back in 1372. The lean is caused by an unstable foundation, and it's been a problem since it began construction in the 12th century. I just don't know how they've been able to keep it up for this long. It's definitely a wonder of the world, and you gotta witness it at least once in your life. Now, to finish this video off, we're going to the capital of Tuscany to visit the iconic city of Florence. It's considered to be the birth of the Renaissance. One of the most impressive buildings in the city is the Florence Cathedral. When you look at it, you just can't believe how big it is. It was completed in 1436, and it just amazes me that they were able to engineer such a big dome. The Ponte Vecchio Bridge is another historic site as it crosses the Arno River, and I just can't say enough good things about Florence. I mean, it's just such an amazing city that you need to visit. Alright, well, that is it for my European cities top 100. There are so many more places I wish I could include, so maybe look out for a part 2. Let me know in the comments where your favorite European city is. If you guys want to feel relaxed, I started a relaxation channel where I post hour-long videos of places around the world with calming music that can bring some peace and nature in your life. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at shirley.films. It's Ryan Shirley, and we will see you later.